Hello, everyone, and a very good evening or good afternoon to all of you that have joined in with us today. We have with us today George Dobre. He's one of our very senior members who's worked with EC Council as a trainer, as a speaker, and who has a vast experience with him. He's been with us for quite a few number of years. But George will tell you better in more detail about himself. So over to you, George.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. Well, as you know, we are focusing today about a very sensitive subject on this topic. Yeah, the relationship between a chief information security officer and the boardroom. But first of all, let me introduce myself for those of you attending first time such a webinar. My name is George, and I started my career in IT a long time ago as a Microsoft certified trainer. I've been awarded by Microsoft years in a row, I think 13 years in a row, as enterprise security most valuable professional. And because I'm focusing a lot on cybersecurity, and I'm involved in delivering for different partners, different projects. My customers are military, commercial, or government organizations in different countries. I think I visited in person, delivering training in person in more than 30 countries before coronavirus outbreak. And since March, I'm delivering all projects, training projects, and consultancy projects online. And because I'm teaching, preparing, certifying every single year hundreds of cybersecurity specialists, our partner, EC Council, they awarded me as an instructor of the year for 4 years in a row. So probably, you know, I'm delivering a lot of technical training and consulting activities. I'm preparing and certifying ethical hackers, forensic investigators, security analysts, threat intelligence analysts. But one of my favorite activities I'm doing is that one of preparing and certifying chief information security officers. I started to do this years ago, and it's probably one of the best experience I do have every single week when I'm delivering a such training. You can actually see now on the screen an invitation to attend my next training, which is scheduled at the end of the year. It will be a 4-day training. For details, you can register directly with EC Council, or you can contact me in person. LinkedIn, maybe probably the most convenient technique to connect each other. And I'll tell you a bit more about this program, because actually our conversation today, it's actually it's focusing on some particular aspects which are part of the curricula of the Chief Information Security Officer preparation and certification program. So if you're visiting EC Council site, you can see the main topics we are addressing in this training in 4 days. We are splitting the conversation in 4 different categories, five domains, which are actually governance and risk management, information security controls, compliance and audit management, security program management and operations, information security core competencies. We're discussing some technical solutions there, And the last domain, which is very important one, strategic planning, finance, procurement, and vendor management. Why to fit so many different topics in the preparation program for a Chief Information Security Officer? Because this is definitely required. So your organization is expecting from you as a CISO to do a complex job. And we're going to talk today about some particular aspects of this job of Chief Information Security Officer, included or not in those domains. Yeah, because we are trying to make some correlation between the topics associated to different domains. If we're trying to define the Chief Information Security Officer role in a modern organization, according Wikipedia, CISO, it's a senior level executive within an organization responsible for establishing, maintaining enterprise vision, strategy, program to ensure information assets and technologies are adequately protected. But this is just a definition, so we don't have to memorize this even for the exam, because we have to be familiar with the deep meaning of a such definition, definitely. Well, what you can see now in the screen, on my screen, it's actually just a list of main jobs split in different categories that actually a CISO should fulfill, leading the process of assuring cybersecurity, maintaining security, implementing the security strategy in an organization, maintaining security, and keeping the bad guys away. Of course, everything should fit the business strategy of the organization. But there are so many jobs how a single person could manage this. Actually, we're not talking in most of the organization about just a single person. We are talking about a CISO office, but actually a person should be the leader, leading all those particular tasks which are presented here in the screen. So many here. So that could be a bit challenging, yeah, to focus on each of them every single day. But we have to organize our activity. And during our conversations in the preparation program for Chief Information Security Officers, we are trying to organize all the tasks and categories of activities in a such way, to organize in a hierarchy in a such way that the CISO could, Chief Information Security Officer, could monitor the job of the CISO office and could provide the best interaction with all guys, technical or non-technical guys, business guys, partners, suppliers in an organization. So here are the main jobs expected from a CISO to fulfill in an organization. Yeah, to hire the staff, starting to hiring the staff, stay informed about latest TTPs, tool techniques and procedures of the attackers trying to compromise the business assets of organization, embedding security information on all those categories of activities related to business in our organization, being an internal and external security expert, become a trusted business advisor, identify the C-level teams member to involve as stakeholders in cybersecurity processes in the organization, and creating reporting, presenting the reports to the board. We're going to discuss a lot about this. And what is very important, follow the 3 C's. What is about this? Well, it's about actually communication, collaboration, and culture inside the organization. But still here, there are a lot of different activities organized in those categories. How you can manage all of them? So we're going into our conversation here to provide some guidance how to manage such a complex list of tasks associated to those typical categories, you should be a real leader in an organization, implementing, building, designing, building, and implementing the cyber strategy of the organization. So actually, if we're trying even to provide more consolidation of the jobs, of the tasks expected from a CISO, so actually there are four main job roles expected from a chief information security officer in an organization. That one will be a guardian, a technologist, a strategist, and an advisor. What you can see in this picture, because it's definitely very interesting. Yeah, this picture, this report provided by Deloitte. So they're saying, okay, actually nowadays the CISO, the actual CISOs are focusing too much on technology to protect business assets as well. So the desired role should diminish. Instead, a CISO, a modern CISO, a real CISO, should focus more on strategy, being an advisor of the business guys in the organization. So this is very important to consider. And we are going to focus today the conversation about CISO as a strategist and advisor inside the company. Just reviewing some main tasks related to guardian activity and technologist activity. Yeah, but definitely the role is going to change in the organization to provide more efficiency on the activity of a real chief information security officer. We have to discuss as well about the current landscape, pandemic and post-pandemic cybersecurity related activities. We have some lesson learned because we started to the nightmare. It started half a year ago. We have 6 months actually. In this environment, we had to adopt and we had to adjust our policies to make the business to work in our organization. It was a huge, tremendous change in the processes, in our processes, letting people to work from home, for example. And there are some we have to figure out. I'm not intending to talk too much about this scenario because you are very familiar with this, but we should talk about post-pandemic cybersecurity. What changes we're expecting in our business processes, in security-related processes, in our organization. Yeah, what will be the exit? We have no idea when will be, but we should be prepared. For example, be prepared to handle post-pandemic cybersecurity needs with reduced staffing. Why reduce staffing? For various purposes, for various purposes. Be ready for any geographic location to experience a lockdown at any time. Yes, that could be true. You never know where a new coronavirus will hit, affecting your workforce, and you should be able to rapidly transfer the services from one place to another if the company has facilities in multiple regions, and shifting the responsibilities from one group of employees to another one. Provide secure work from home services. There are so many challenges related to the security related, because the attackers, so they are taking advantage of this particular behavior, and actually you've seen an increasing number of incidents. The incidents of the attacks, it was increasing during those times. A lot of incidents related to secure access to the company resources from people working from home. Incident response procedures will need to be devised to handle the virtual nature of work from home. So you don't have direct access to the assets, to the computers your employees are typically using from home. You cannot have direct control, physical control of those devices. as well as supply chain consideration should be also integrated into this plan. Yeah, what's happening, for example, if you have to change the security tokens for your employees working from home, for example. This could involve, for example, changing the process of providing by a supplier or such token, how you are going to distribute those tokens to people working from home, how you are identifying those guys. Yeah, those are some challenges we have to consider, and you, the CISO, should be in top of advising those procedures, those new procedures. As well, there is a very good observation here in this slide. Companies spending on cybersecurity company spending on cybersecurity does not necessarily correlate with the level of protection. There are some myths here. Yeah, all assets in the organization must be protected in the same way. So which is wrong. Yeah, the more we spend, the more secure we will be. Mitch, the third myth, yeah, external hackers are the only threat to the corporate asset, so we have to consider seriously the internal threats. Yeah, the more advanced our technology, the more secure we are. Yeah, so we have to consider, and as a CISO, you should actually pose those questions to your teams and as well to the business guys in the organization, to the board of your organization. So about challenges related to technology, because you should be an advisor for technology in your organization. Yeah, for example, the tech trends you are expecting for the next year. Yeah, which are actually, even there are some challenges related to adoption of the new technologies in the coronavirus outbreak scenarios. Yeah, for example, cloud adoption, it's accelerating definitely. Yeah, we should better protect the Internet of Things. Yeah, IoT protection could be very carefully considered. Yeah, edge computing as well. Which technology will have the biggest impact on IT security in the next 5 years? AI we have to consider, cloud-based security, blockchain, predictive analysis, yeah, quantum cryptography, cognitive machine learning. So, well, even we are not familiar in depth with all those techniques. So it's good to consider, to read more, to be familiar with those techniques as a chief information security officer, and to learn how this could actually could have an impact on your organization. Yeah, CISO as a strategist. The new strategy is that one of prevent and assume breach. Assume breach, yeah, this is the new strategy. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this, yeah. Assuming breach, what kind of activities could help you? For example, bug bounty programs are helping you, yeah. War game exercises, we're practicing war game exercises during our training program, Chief Information Security Officer training program. We're focusing on integrating threat intelligence information into our activity. Yeah, just to be familiar with the latest TTPs that could affect your organization. In the same time, so what was happening this year, it was actually accelerating some adoption processes. How many of you familiar with SASE, Secure Access Service Edge? It's something that it was defined last year, and yeah, started to be promoted by Gartner last year, this philosophy, concentrating, actually consolidating the security processes into the cloud. So instead of storing in our infrastructure, a heavy branch, and implementing locally DLP, next generation firewall, VPN routing solutions, networking solutions, and focusing on implementing security on all of them. So actually we are focusing now, this is the idea of SASE, to focus on thin branch, just actually providing secure services to access cloud services, And everything related, all services related to security are now provided by cloud providers. I think this behavior of working from home for so many guys in organizations. So this concept of SASE, it's helping them to maintain a decent level of security because everything is centralized. Yeah, I do have here even some platforms providing services inside this concept of SASE. Yeah, converging all network and security services in the cloud. And this process is going to accelerate. So we have, it was exactly 1 year ago launched this concept by Gartner. And now you are seeing a lot of organizations adopting this philosophy as providers and as well as companies, beneficiaries of this concept. Well, there is a major shift, a major change, yeah, in building actually the services, security related services, providing a decent level of security to our business processes in the organization. So focusing on actually organizing all secure activities in the cloud. Another concept that is very interesting, I did discover watching the conference, RSA conference presentations this year. It was, it is this one, DIE, distributed, immutable, ephemeral. What is this about? So maybe this is going to change the traditional approach, which is very well documented. It was very fundamental for us, for activity of building a security strategy in organization, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So maybe this model should be upgraded it's based on an observation. Yeah, for example, confidentiality is not provided, the best confidentiality is not provided by a traditional security solution. It's actually based by some platforms, Docker, containerization, all virtualization. So all information is ephemeral and maybe built actually by a consistent backup, for example. Yeah, immutable. Yeah, integrity. The best integrity solution is blockchain, and a blockchain is not actually a security platform, but there are real advantages in providing integrity. Yeah, all changes actually are easier to be detected and reversed. And we're talking about availability. So distribution, yeah, for example, a distributed environment, a distributed infrastructure, which is actually supported by cloud scenarios, actually could be very resistant to some attacks, including distributed denial of service attacks. So again, maybe this model, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, should be actually upgraded, yeah, to DIE model. What is about more specifically? So instead of focusing on identifying the traditional way, so identify the most important assets in the organization, the critical assets in the organization, and focusing on protecting them more than the others, not so important for the business processes in the organization, implementing appropriate protection techniques. So we can actually focus on maybe on different stages: detect the attack, respond the attacks, and recover, with an accent on respond and recover to the attacks. So we can move from confidential integrity and availability, which is actually governed by those stages: identify, protect, detect. So we can move maybe to a DIE model, distributed, immutable, ephemeral, just focusing on respond and recover. Yeah. And this is the strategy: cattle versus pets. Yeah, so cattle, we are not focusing too much on protection, identifying the most critical assets and protecting them better than the others, because actually we can easily respond and recover to any security incident, and all information could be protected in a such way. It's not necessary to focus on some particular assets. In a such way, you are recovering in a secure way all our assets, and this could be a better strategy to implement in a very large, in an enterprise environment. Okay, so let's talk about now about some common mistakes that CISO are usually making. So I'm starting to move the conversation actually to a bit more on the informal. Yeah, those are actually some the conversation, the topics I'm planning to address in the next minutes are actually not included in the frameworks, in cybersecurity frameworks and regulations and laws, but it's based on the experience. So I did analyze a lot of reports, a lot of interviews of CISO, and I'm happy to present you some information from the practical experience of CISO. So just to provide a short list of cybersecurity mistakes the CISOs are usually making. Just reviewing a bit, you can add maybe for this reason I did add at the end something to add, because maybe from your experience we can suggest something to add at the end of this list. So ignore assets outside the responsibility of IT. So we should focus on the business and the importance of the business assets, yeah, which are not actually a responsibility of IT anytime. The responsibility of the owners of those assets are actually the business owners. Limit security training to technical teams. So not necessary to insist too much, because, for example, in an advanced persistent threats, any single relevant attack is starting with the social engineering phase, and this is targeting the unsuspicious users, users which are actually the business users, information workers, with not so much experience in IT, and well, those are the easiest targets actually. Security training should focus on the business guys as well. Fail to secure executive buy-in. Well, this is a topic I'm not discussing right now, because we are planning to have more detailed conversation in the next minutes. Assume third-party providers will handle security effectively. So this is a wrong approach. Again, we should talk a bit more about this, yeah, about your providers, your suppliers, and so on. Blindly trust CM system and other monitoring solutions. Yeah, we should make some assessments. You should monitor the results. Okay, so you should, on the other, yeah, you should build inside your teams, security teams in your organization. You should build some skills. Yeah, you should maintain skills of those guys capable to monitor and to understand everything that's happening inside the organization. Adopt a narrow definition of threat intelligence. Well, this is very important, not just for security guys. It's important for business. You have to make all the guys in the organization to be aware about the latest TTPs and tools, techniques, and procedures that may be used by the attackers against the organization. Underestimate the impact of business changes on security. Yeah, those are just some mistakes, typical mistakes that normal CISOs we are doing in our activities. So we should be aware how to avoid some mistakes in this list. Well, about the relationship between a chief information security officer and the board members, the other guys. We're planning to have more conversation about this today. It's a bit funny, but honestly, I don't think this is applying anymore. It's a bit old, actually, this picture. I don't think this is applying anymore during coronavirus outbreak, yeah, because so many people started to be concerned about security, not just just the CISO. Probably you are seeing some changes. Yeah. If you're identifying the role, focusing on identifying the role of the modern CISO for organization, so the focus of the CISO needs to be primarily on how they can improve communication with the board. Just to read a statement from here, and each operational function which they interact, yeah, it should have nothing to do with cybersecurity technology. This is an important statement because, as you've seen in that previous picture and the previous slide, so one of the biggest mistakes, actually, a big mistakes that the CISOs are doing, it's about focusing too much on technology. And I'm going to provide you some guidance related to this. Yeah. For example, to avoid actually misunderstanding, yeah, of some potential threats for your organization. Um, Shadow IT, for example. I think you are familiar with this. Yeah, we are considering this as being dangerous for security, but the business guys are saying, okay, that could provide some new, yeah, an increased productivity sometimes. Yeah, it's more flexibility and making the job of the business guys easier. Okay, we should find a balance between, right? It's very important to consider, to go further with this conversation, it's very important to consider as well a typical structure of IT culture in the organization, because we have four different categories of companies. Conservative companies. IT is not strategic for those companies. Yeah, they do not consider the IT processes that do have a big impact on the business. Yeah, and security having a big impact on the business of the organization. Yeah, moderate, aggressive, and personally, I would like to be a CISO in such organization. Yeah, bleeding edge category. So this organization, it's considering IT as being highly strategic for this organization. But we have to admit we have a relative uniform distribution of the culture of companies in these scenarios. Yeah, the four scenarios. Yeah, from conservative to bleeding edge with intermediary stages. Yeah, and yeah, to better explain and to understand this process, because actually the role of the CISO should be that one to make the C-level guys in your organization to perceive security as a business enabler, not just as a cost center. Yeah, and this is very important to make the guys to understand this, the business guys to understand this, the board of the organization. But first of all, you have to identify the maturity, the level of the business processes in organization. Again, we're talking about the business processes in organization. It's the CMMI model. Maybe you are familiar with this. Yeah, of course, level 5 optimizing is the best for the business processes in organization. I would like again to be a CISO in such organization. The culture of the organization, it's important as well to be considered. And a couple of weeks ago, I did present another webinar for the CISOs, analyzing the organizational culture. Yeah, the starting point, it was a book, the culture map. And well, there are actually 8 different components in analyzing the culture of an organization. Yeah, communicating, evaluating, persuading, leading, deciding, trusting, disagreeing, and scheduling. And there are very big differences between different companies, or actually very specific based on geography, differences based on geography. For example, communicating, it's very different for people in different countries and belonging typically to different traditional cultures. Yeah, communicating, just the first component, which is key. Yeah, in any organization. So we can identify low context culture where actually the words are very important, but some other like gesture, so facial expressions are not so important. and high context culture where the words are minimized, the importance of words are minimized, and seeing each other, touching each other, having direct interaction, that could be more important than just reading emails. But organizations in different countries around the world, and even in the same team, hiring people around the world, which is a very common behavior because nowadays people are working remotely. Yeah, you are attending this webinar from different countries, so it's very important to understand the traditional culture, related to this component of communicating in the culture. Yeah, and for people working from home, there is challenging somewhere. And for CISO, managing teams from different countries, that could be very important to define communication strategy, which is actually considering the company culture, the traditional geoculture based on geography. Yeah. For example, communicating a crisis. Yeah, it's very important, the strategy of communicating a crisis in organizations. So that could be a mix on information to communicate by CISO when communicating a strategy. I told you, for example, in the CISO training, we are playing war games. Yeah. And it's very important to communicate a crisis. Yeah, for example, in the case of ransomware attack. And we have to mix the messages to internal communication and external communication to different stakeholders in different scenarios. That could be challenging to manage a global team, and you as a CISO, you have to do this, definitely. Yeah, and you can see people from different countries. It's just an example here. They do have a different behavior, analyzing and representing on a culture map the 8 different main components of company culture. And we can analyze even the culture of different organizations. For example, your suppliers, your partners, they do have, analyzing the structure, analyzing their culture, you can identify different behavior. This is an interesting scenario. And maybe you'll have the opportunity to talk a bit more. I'm inviting you to attend the training. So about the communication, let's focus the next minutes on discussing about the communication between the CISO and the board members in organization, the C-suite in an organization. So in a lot of organizations, we're seeing this behavior. Actually, this communication is actually limited. We do have different representation for financial institution and all other industries. But what you can see, for example, how many stages, how many steps or hierarchies, how many floors, yeah, in the hierarchy are between a CISO and the board members of the organization, for example, the chief executive officer in the organization. So reporting directly, just 21 for financial organizations, and for the others, 31% are reporting directly to the chief executive officer, CISO, reporting directly. So 32%, so 1/3 of the other chief information security officers are reporting actually not directly to the chief executive officer, but they're reporting to some other guys at the C level. For example, reporting to, in some organizations, they're reporting to chief information officer. Probably is not the best approach. Could be a conflict. Here. Chief risk officer. There is another situation which is starting to be very common. So there is no direct reporting relationship between the CISO and C level. Yeah. In some organizations, there are even two different layers in the communication, which is not the best situation, but it's very representative if you're looking at the numbers. So I did found somewhere in a report, yeah, some essential questions, yeah. How do you think the executive management business, non-technical and board of directors of the organization view the security team? So important, half of them. Good to have, 30%. Neutral, 10%, and negative, Negative. Okay, you can see 7% are saying actually the security it's perceived in a negative way, which is bad. Yeah. Okay, the second question. Do you believe the executive management team in organization understand and accept the security breaches are impossible to be avoided? Yes, 60%, which is good. Yeah. No, about 30%, and not sure. Okay, 30% are saying, okay, security breaches are non-acceptable for your organization, which is okay. It's about lack of maturity in that organization because it's impossible to avoid security breaches. If it was a significant security breach in organization, how do you believe that executive management in your organization would respond? Yeah, would respond. Terminated. Yeah, the security guys, including the CISO, maybe. Yeah, firing them. Wow. Official warning to them. This is bad as well. Yeah, assisting resolving half of them. So unconcerned, which is better, bad again. Yeah, about 10%. Not sure, just a limited number. So I think this report is very relevant. Yeah, for some organizations. Maybe you should repeat this in your organization actually to see actually the answer of the business guys in your organization to better understand actually the situation of the CISO toward the board. Well, maybe we have to identify actually different type of CISOs because we have, we're calling them CISO tribes. Yeah, 4 different categories of CISO: security as enabler, security as technology, security as compliance, and security as a cost center. So of course, security as enabler, this is the best here. CISO, it's a senior executive, and so the CISO is focusing much attention on the business and less on technology. This is the best approach, yeah. And here, the last category, the 4th tribe, actually it's not so much as a CISO, remains at the top a security hub, but it's a technology person. It's not fulfilling the job of a real CISO, honestly. Yeah, and we have some intermediary phases. Yeah, actually somewhere between. So we have those 4 tribes. Why it's so important to identify the position of the CISO in organization, the profile, because actually this is defining the relationship with the board. Yeah, the CISO is enjoying direct interaction for the T1 and T3, security as enabler, security as technology. So the CISO enjoys direct interaction and influence on both the CEO and the board. Yeah. In the last scenario, T4, security perceived just a cost center in an organization, and well, the CISO is not so helpful to change this perception. Yeah. Well, the security leader, the CISO, lacks a collegial relationship with either the CEO or the board in the organization. And so actually, such guy is not actually just focusing on technology, but not in the possession of communication, very good communication skills, not distributing the right messages to the management of the organization, okay, is not helpful too much to the organization. So, and for this reason, the effect is that security is perceived just as a cost center into organization. And this is actually could be seen even from another perspective, yeah, company culture and security. And company culture for T1, T2, security as enabler, security as technology. Company culture aligns with security is partially defined by security. But the last one, security as a cost center, yeah, the profile of the tribe 4 of CISO. Company culture is not conducive to security. Compliance is the only one and only currency Yeah, we are doing some activity. We're implementing a plan, security plan in the organization, just because we're forced by compliance, and we do not understand the importance of this. I do have a question. For example, this is the exam style question, because there is a difficult exam to become a CISO. You have to answer to 115, 2 hours and a half, to 150 questions, and I can show you a related questions of this. For example, an organization has actually recently appointed the CISO, and this CISO, while confident with skill and experience, is constantly on the defensive and unable to advance the IT security centric agenda. Yeah. Which of the following is the reason the CISO has not been able to advance the security agenda in the organization? Lack of identification of technology stakeholders, lack of business continuity process, lack of influence with leaders outside the IT, or lack of security awareness program. What's your opinion? Actually, I would like to invite you to provide such an answer to this question. Yeah, probably. You can try to send me an answer by chat if you want. I think you have the chat window activated. But just to save some time, I will provide you the answer. You can check your opinion as well. So lack of influence with leaders outside IT. So he's not capable to talk to the board, to the other guys, the business guys in the organization, to the C-level guys. He's focusing too much on technology. Yeah, and this is posing a risk of building and implementing a security strategy of your organization. Okay, so just at the end of our conversation, I would like to share 10 tips for effectively presenting cybersecurity to the board. I'm reviewing very quickly, yeah, because my plan is that one, to ask you some questions if you want to have some time at the end of our conversation to provide some answers. If you have some questions, you should be prepared for this, yeah, to send some questions. You can even send some questions by chat if you want. Yeah, that could be easier for me to review those questions, or activating your microphone. So do more prep work. Tip number one, yeah, be very prepared when you're going to present something to the board, to the management board of the organization. Yeah, do your homework before joining. Offer an assessment. Yeah. Well, just to providing them an idea, a benchmark, an assessment where we are actually in the real world, yeah, towards some other partners in the industry, for example, in the security related world, yeah. Offer an assessment to them. That could be very important. It's building trust, yeah. Be transparent, yeah. Because you're not expecting they're completely unaware about cybersecurity, and so because most of the organizations, they do have a threat intelligence department, and this one is providing them some reports. So they may be familiar with some topics you want to talk them. You should not avoid a direct conversation related to this. So be transparent. Transparent is very, very important, yeah. But you should focus the conversation about enterprise risk. Do not focus too much on particular aspect, technical aspects, and so on. Focus on the business impact of that risk, yeah, you are identifying. Anticipate the tricky questions from the board. That would be very, very important, yeah, to anticipate the questions, yeah, to build scenarios, and yeah, there are some questions to be prepared to answer those questions. Sometimes very well, very pertinent questions, yeah. Such question to be, and think ahead, develop go-to responses, yeah. based on the identifying, for example, the CMMI model, you should know your audience and you should provide them answers which are actually correlated with the level of their level of understanding. Be honest about limits, but don't try to scare the board. Yeah, about this one, try to scare the board. It's a very convenient procedure. I've seen adopted by many people, many CISOs, but it's not working anytime. Scaring could be useful, but okay, people in the board are very smart, and anytime they're trying to ask you to identify some workarounds and so on, that could be tricky sometimes. You should don't try to scare them, because to push them to adopt something budget or some projects just based on this, right? Because that could be challenging sometimes. Get a champion. Yeah, get a champion on the board. Yeah, you should identify the stakeholders, and based on this, actually, after identifying the stakeholders, you are familiar, probably most of you familiar with this stakeholder matrix. Yeah, you should identify who is responsible, accountable, supportive, consulted, and informed. This is a RESI table. Yeah, according ISO 27K. And you can identify anytime who is accountable, who is responsible, who should be supportive, consultant, and informed. And identifying some champions, actually, it's moving more people from this particular position of consultant and supportive. Yeah, this is the philosophy, and this is the strategy associated to this, the trick associated to this. Get the point. So you should present actually very clearly the goals of our conversation, of your proposals, of your projects, and identify the goals that right up front. Yeah. For example, you are inviting the board to make a decision. Yeah, to present a decision. We should pay the ransom or not. It should be a business decision. You have to provide them all information, and you have to invite them to make a decision. Skip the tech talk, present the business value. Okay, I think it's not necessary to insist too much here, because one of the main mistakes the CISOs are doing is that want to focus too much on tech talk, and this is completely non-transparent for the business guys sometimes, and they're confused. For them, everything is like a black box. You should avoid this. Determine the measures of success. Yeah, saying, okay, sometimes we're not talking about the IT metrics, yeah, or cybersecurity metrics, but a measure of your efficiency in the conversation with the board. Yeah, you are doing a good job informing the board when board member ask intelligent questions or no questions at all. This could be a good sign after news of a breach, for example, because it shows they trust you as a CISO. This is important. And the last one, capitalize the opportunity. Yeah. Even the frameworks are recommending that the CISO, if not member of the board, should meet the board at least once a year. Try to do this more often. Yeah, to create a better relationship with the guys in the board. Okay. Yeah, I have a joke here just at the end of my conversation. Yeah, it's just a remote conversation with the board. Yeah, I think it's funny, this comic. Yeah, but okay, we have to survive with this, and we have to adopt the intelligent technique to talk to the board in order to make cybersecurity, to push cybersecurity as a business enabler for your organization. So at the end of our conversation, I would like to invite you again to join us for this training, Chief Information Security Officer. You can find more information about this training on the AC Council site, or I'm inviting you to connect directly. You can see my LinkedIn profile. You can ask anytime questions about this. I would like to invite you again to attend this training and to be a modern CISO, to be a smart CISO after certifying. It's one of the best programs. It's, in my opinion, is the best program preparing and certifying the Chief Information Security Officer now in the market. Okay, now we have some time for questions, and I would like to invite you to address some questions. You can send the questions by chat, or you can activate your microphone if you want. I'm trying to unmute you. Let me check if it's working. Yeah, I see you are self-muted, but I'm trying to unmute you just in case if you have some questions. Yeah, please please go directly to, yes, I'm unmuting you. Please check your status, and yeah, you can activate your microphone and we can talk directly if you have any questions related to our presentation. So I can hear you, some of you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to unmute you. If you want to talk, please activate your microphone.
Yes, please.
So at this moment, anyone in the team of attendees is self-muted. You can activate your microphone if you want to talk.
At this moment, no, because I'm in a meeting.
No problem. Just if you want to ask some questions.
After 1 hour.
Okay, you can contact me. We can connect each other on LinkedIn, for example, and we can talk. Yeah, of course, if you are busy right now. Now, wondering if you have some more questions, yeah, from the audience. Please activate your microphone. We can start talk. So no questions so far?
Hi, Mr. George. Hello.
Yes, right.
Yes. I saw your presentation. Very good. Can you share with us these 10 tips that you presented?
Yes, of course. The presentation will be available on the full presentation,
okay,
including the audio, will be available by tomorrow on the EC Council site. So if you're visiting the same link you did use for registration, you will find the link to this presentation, and the presentation will be available to anyone.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.